Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Always interpret the message as it best resonates with you. If you're new to my channel, know I like to look at everything, which means I also look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes within your relationship and within your everyday life. All right, now if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you obviously have to be open to getting a shadow reading. Gotta like the video, subscribe to the channel, it's good karma anyway, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. Because when we're dealing with people that have spiritual blocks, they feel defective, they feel like there's something wrong with them, so they wear masks. So their behaviorisms and habits are more in alignment with their core beliefs. However, what they'll do is they, try to emulate the behaviorism, which is usually when they either overcompensate or undercompensate. And overcompensation could be love bombing, someone that goes into a job and over promises and over gives, but then under delivers. Or someone that breadcrumbs and doesn't give anything at all. So either way, it's either, and people tend to do this when they're wounded, because again, they want to try to protect themselves. So remember, the core belief then would be protecting, but the behaviorism is either overdoing or underdoing. It's not balanced, because real balance comes from when you are living your truth, when you are, again, connected to the physical body, the physical world, and all physical elements of the world, and when you're connected to your higher self, the God part of self, and then you're being led through your gut intuition and how you're giving and receiving of love, then you can see the opportunities. So I'm kind of feeling like you're dealing with someone that's very imbalanced. All right, let's see why I'm feeling that energy. Again, sometimes spirit tells me to add little things and to channel little information. So I don't know who needed to hear that. But again, there it was. Okay, let's see what the word is. And the word is, again, narcissism. Narcissism. But I pulled that for another channel. So I'm like, I want to pull another one just to be safe. Because like I said, it's not like I didn't channel. It's not, I mean, it's not like I didn't shuffle. I did shuffle the cards after, and then I do a quick little shuffle like this, and it came out. But let's try and get a little bit more information. Again, they acted like they didn't care. Okay, so I'm feeling like the energy actually right now, the underlying energy, you can either write narcissism or you can write apathy in your comment bar. But I feel like someone is a narcissist. They were a narcissist, and they still are a narcissist because they haven't learned the spiritual lesson, right? We look at narcissism as someone that is a mean, someone that, again, gives nothing, which is what I felt like. Again, this person's acting like they don't give a shit, that you and them are in separation. But that's not truth. It's, again, when a person feels like they were narcissists, they don't like who they are. They don't like who they are because the experiences that they create are, only in alignment with what they want. They're very selfish. Narcissists only think about themselves. They feel so wounded that they're in survival mode all the time. And because they're in survival mode all the time, they look for people and situations to make them feel better. So I'm feeling like you're dealing with someone that emotionally manipulates, and they emotionally manipulate people that they perceive to be of a lower energy than them. It's so that they can get what they want. They come in and they seek out people that they feel has a low self-esteem. And I don't really feel like you have a low self-esteem. I feel like you're humble. I feel like you're an empath, and it's not uncommon for empaths to wind up with narcissists, because empaths are full of light, and they tend to give people the benefit of the doubt, and they tend to, only see the good. They're light beings, and unless they get wounded and hurt. An empath that gets wounded and hurt, they begin to shut down and they become narcissists. And so I'm feeling like you and this person have a spiritual connection, but I don't feel like this person's done any healing work. So there's someone that hides behind the mask, and the mask is I'm gonna act like I don't care that you and I aren't talking. So that's the energy. But let's see what they do, because I'm feeling like they're feeling like a lot of shame. So they're acting like they don't care, but I feel like they feel guilty and that they're full of shame. But that's just what I'm feeling. Okay, illusions. Again, this person is creating a lot of illusions to make it look like they're happy, to make it look like they're successful, to make it look like you don't mean anything to them. Because part of them, if they have to come back and apologize and if they have to take responsibility, then I would actually have to take a real good look at themselves. And I feel like this person has been living out of balance their whole life. People don't just become narcissists one day. They grow up in an environment that, pretty much makes them become a narcissist. It's where they feel like they're deeply flawed. They feel as if, that they don't know why they're here. They're usually, again, they feel deeply flawed. They feel defective. They can't make their relationships work. Their relationships continually, fall apart. And really, usually with fireworks, there's usually a lot of toxic behavior. Because listen, when you're with a narcissist, you don't know that you're with a narcissist in the beginning. So this person has been able to manipulate people where they get and they get and they get and they get until, the people finally catch on. But the problem is, there's a lot of anger and there's a lot of, I want to get back at you then. And so there's almost a sense where I feel like your person gets addicted to that drama as well. And that's possible, like people that have addictive behavior, it's a lot of times they have very low energy. This person has low energy, they're tired. And it's because they're up in their head all the time, trying to figure out, trying to strategize. It's exhausting to be that way, and also to feel like you're not loved and you're not liked, and that you need something outside of yourself to feel whole, to feel complete, to feel like that you matter. It's like that's how this person has lived. And so again, I feel like when you met this person, you obviously didn't see that. You saw the illusions and you gave this person the benefit of the doubt, because you were like, well, until someone proves me wrong, I'm not gonna, be a jerk. Again, what did I say? This person doesn't feel like they fit in. So they deliberately are rebellious. They're a rebel without a cause. It's like because there's a sense that they can't really have relationships. Again, you don't have to be alone, but this person feels like they go into the relationship being like, it's not going to work out. I'm not going to get my hopes up high. And that happens, even though this person's a narcissist, there's a deeply flawed. So their way of making it work out is to have full control. They'd rather have control than actually surrender to being vulnerable. And that's because, again, of the way that they were brought up. It has nothing to do with you. However, it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings and that they don't have spiritual connections. People have spiritual connections because we're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest. You might be like, what the hell are we learning? And really, God says, well, you're supposed to be learning you're not separate from me through seeing your situation through all different perceptions, which will allow you to see your life through all different perceptions. Every day is Groundhog Day for this person. So they never evolve. But it doesn't mean that, the divine that's inside of them doesn't intuitively know. It means that this person is deliberately strategizing and coming from that reptilian mind to try to control, because they, again, have never knew any other way to survive. And after a while, then it's just a habit. So this person can't make their life really work, because you can't make relationships work strategizing all the time. People can feel that. They're like, you're not genuine. And then they can feel, because they are intuitive, that people think that they're full of shit. And then again, it creates a lot of feelings of inadequacy. Again, and so they just don't care. It's like, and we pulled this before. Again, look at this twice. Twice. This is a form of avoidance. But that doesn't mean that energy is not there. What that means is that person has like addictions. Because again, after a while, when the shadow is there and you've lived life experiences that just don't work out, and you see yourself as a failure, again, it doesn't feel good. It's draining of energy. We begin to feel lethargic. You have to do something to make yourself feel better. The ego searches. So we overbuy. So I believe that this person has a lot of stuff where for a long time that the stuff made them happy, because again, they perceived that who they were was through the stuff, like hiding behind the stuff because this person doesn't know who they are. Then it's the relationships, but then a relationship isn't based on attachment. What we see here is that this person creates relationships out of attachment. And so, of course, the relationship doesn't work out. So we have to look at, see, well, we see how they cared. It was full of avoidance. This person was rebellious. But we have to say, what was the trigger with inside of you? That's really what's most important here, Scorpio. Like if you want to shape shift the energy here, it's not so much about what this person's going to do, because you change, this person changes. They don't have a choice, because it's not like there's not a spiritual connection there. It's like, don't undervalue yourself. Again, let's see. Ignored. Again, that's what this person did. Again, big ego. I can't really get that close to you. This is, this person, because then you see the real me. So I'm going to create the illusion that my life is actually better. And in that, I'm going to, be self-righteous and arrogant so that you perceive that, and I'm going to give you less. I'm going to breadcrumb. That's that second chakra imbalance that I said. It's again overcompensating to make you perceive that you're less than. Remember, this person's used to going after people that they perceive is, not secure. I believe that you're humble. I believe that you're not phony. This person's used to dealing with phony people. And so phony people act like their life is better than it is. I believe that you're real, and this was a real connection. And this person never had a real connection before. First of all, they've always told to be somebody else. Again, narcissists are not they just don't come about. It's the environment. And it's a second chakra imbalance where either the parent gives too much and spoils that child rotten, or completely ignores. Again, but it's extreme. And it's what makes that person feel inadequate, because the world is not going to spoil you rotten and make it easy. So then you're going to feel like something's wrong with you. And, they're not going to berate you either. It's actually better to be a little bit spoiled, because then you're assuming that good things are going to happen. Because then you can at least change your behaviorisms to make that possible. But if you were conditioned to believe that things are bad, well, and that's the thing, this person was also conditioned their mind. So, then you have to heal your mind, and then by doing shadow work, and then you also need to change the behaviorism. So it's a little trickier. And so I feel like your person is a little detached, so it's easy for them to ignore you. And that's what happens after a while too. If you're connected to someone that has so much trauma, and they just form mask after mask after mask, because what happens is eventually that mask, falls apart, because it wasn't built on truth. So this person went out and bought so much stuff, and they made their life look like they was something else. Now they're in debt, because that wasn't really them. Whether that's debt from buying too much clothes or doing too many things, appearance changes, or whether that was buying a fancy car and outside things. That's what the mask will do, because it all comes down to, well, I feel out of tune. I don't really feel like I fit in anywhere. So I have to take on an identity. Otherwise, then I'm dead. That's the ego says, well, you got to become something. And actually, defective is better than dead. So you better pick something. Otherwise, it's going to be defective because your life experiences look like shit. So just logically, we're going to say that again, that we're shit. No, and everyone's ego is like, well, I'm not shit. No, I'd rather play this role. And again, it's unconscious, but it's linked to their emotional survival, because no one wants to feel like they can't be loved and that they're not liked. But narcissists, in this case, this person was made to believe that they were not lovable. That's how this came along. And now they're trying to navigate their life. And we can see this why they either overcompensate or undercompensate. And so they liked you, but now they got in their own way. This is actually what a psychological reversal is. This person wanted to be in a relationship and they sabotaged the relationship. They got in their own way. And again, look at this. It's the same shit. It's like lonely. I felt ignored. I felt lonely. Like I'm in a relationship with someone that and not to understand narcissist control through emotionally not giving. And part of that is because this person doesn't feel comfortable to do it. It's because they were rejected. That's where they didn't just become a narcissist. That didn't just happen, So and the survival mechanism of acting like you don't care, is also taught. It's emotional abuse. So the person learned that. And so, but that's the thing, when people don't heal and then they have the same experiences that happen to a parent or a caregiver, some important person in your childhood, well, then it's not uncommon that you adapt to the same behaviors. We all could be like, oh shit, when we have our kids, like I sound like my mother and I hated my mother, or like I hated when my mother used to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like we all can adopt to these behaviorisms and not know, because it's a survival mechanism and this person's unconscious to it. So it's like, you're gonna like me better if I like show you this person instead of really let you in, because if I really let you in and you reject me, well then I can't, I might just die. The ego will die. And the ego is like, not gonna happen today. It's like, I'd rather you take on this persona. But the real core belief is that they can't have the love. And you just had enough. You're like, I have enough. You're not like continually do the same shit I keep telling you, and then you project, and it's like, and we're stuck in a Mexican standstill. You don't want to move, I'm not moving because I don't want you to disrespect me. You act like I should be subservient to you because you don't feel comfortable within yourself. It's like, I can't do this. So we have to say, well, why did you attract this person into your life? And is this person going to come back? I mean, even the ego is like, well, this person going to come back? And spirit will say, well, that person's like, why do you want that person? And it's like, that's not the point. We want to know, is the person going to come back? And this is because our ego wants to know. It's like, are they going to suffer? There's this dust part of ourself, and that dust part of self is the ego part of self that's like, we want to know, you know, tell me he's going to suffer. or tell me she's going to suffer. Tell me I'm going to meet somebody else, that my life automatically changes. It's like our mind is always like that because that person hurt us. Because they're hurt people, but our own ego is like, doesn't want to look at that. This person feels like, again, right now, I feel like there's potential for this. It's just that they would be needy. They would be needy. They would want like to actually fix this, like I said, like, and to start over. But what I see is that they're needy, and that they would, that they're needy. and that they would have to learn how to be vulnerable. You know, they would be like a baby, actually, like this person is not, you would have to be willing to be like a healer for this person. And like, I don't really see that happening, you know? No, because it's like it says again, you're moving on because of that. Like you're gonna move on. You're like it's like if they're gonna, I feel like they would try to come back like and offer you a new beginning, you know, because it's not like there wasn't a connection. However, I just feel like you're not you're like again at this point like it's done because I just don't feel like you're doing it now. For some of you guys, it could be because it's a collective reading. That's a, for some it's yes, and for some it's no. Like again, because this was completely contradictory. It's like, again, new beginnings, moving on. But I take it as like this person's going to come back and you're going to be like, no, because it's like I was there, and when I was there I was 100% giving to you and open to you, and almost like you've done too much to heal it. But like I said, it's a collective reading. For some of you it's yes, and some of it is, some of you guys are no. But let's just say you wanted to take this person back. Is there any advice that we can take into this situation? Because like I said, this person, and I would say they would actually have to be healed. I don't see them doing anything, to be honest with you, to fix it. Not enough in God's hands. Like it's like you would have to like not be in this connection, actually, like is what I'm really feeling, like spirit saying like no, because this person is like hasn't done the healing. They're so wounded that they would need healing. And what this would be is that you would be like try to help them, but it's almost like they're like such at a low vibration, it would never work. And that's, I think, is another way to look at this situation, is to be like, well, I take you back because there is this connection, but you're just not evolved enough. You're just so, it's the end of the cycle. Like we needed to try it because there was so much of a connection for so long, but I can't heal you. I have to put this in God's hands. I gotta lay it like it, meaning like I need to do that because with a new cycle, changing direction, you wind up making adjustments. Like I said, you wind up finding your path. It's almost like this person needed to come into your life. We have to say, well, why did this person come into your life? Because with a situation like this, it's like, okay, they're not really going to do anything. And we should put it in God's hands. Okay, but then why did I attract this person into my life? Now remember, you're a mirror of who and what is supposed to come into your life for your healing, to help you evolve into the highest state of consciousness, which is unconditional love, which is the energy of the universe. It's the energy of God. It's the energy of the universe. It's the energy that's within inside of you. And when you are balanced and you're at ease, that's the energy that you vibrate at. And you need to be at that vibration in order to attract the people and situations and experiences into your life. Now, if you're not and you are attracting a person like this, who is so wounded, what do you need to learn? It's you grew up in a very imbalanced environment, so organized chaos. So you're very good with like there's a part of you that actually is addicted to that behavior because you grew up in the behavior of, imbalance. So you might have had an alcoholic mom or dad. You might have had uh, one parent in the home that did everything, but there was imbalance. That doesn't mean that your parent didn't make work. If anything, they did because it was organized. Like I said, it worked. But after a while, the environment that we grow up in, we become conditioned to feel like that's familiar, right? Unconsciously, even if we go to the what's familiar, and that's the thing. Instead of something new that would be better, we go towards what is imbalanced and familiar. And so I'm feeling like there was a little bit of that energy, almost like you might have been the caregiver, you might have been the fixer. So you would have been triggered to go back into that role of being the giver and fixer if you didn't do your healing work. But this person treated you so badly, you were like, no. And remember, if you grew up in an environment where the parent was angry all the time and there wasn't enough time, there wasn't enough money, I mean, that's an environment that doesn't make us feel safe. It doesn't mean that it's a blame game. We look at the spirit part of ourself and we look at the inner child. Child is that child part of self that experienced things when they were 1, 2, 3, 4 again, and is overly sensitive. So it can be, my mother was just, it was a hard time. Remember, you're growing up when your parents are growing up. Everybody's learning. And I don't believe that, again, there was a lot of stability in the way that you grew up. So again, like goes to like. This person also grew up that way. And there's only two energies, love and fear. So unfortunately, you might have said, well, I wasn't abused and I wasn't taught to not have anything, even though this person like was. But again, because there's only two energies, love and fear, you're going to get what's imbalanced in order to make you look. Really, I feel like you got to a place where you're like, no, I'm comfortable. I don't want to go back into that craziness. It's like, and that's again, nurturance. So it's about nurturing yourself, choosing you first. And I believe that this person, would have been all about them. That's what it felt like. They were completely ignoring like what you needed on an emotional level, mainly because you were always lonely, and they could have been there, but not even, really open. This person can't be. They wear masks, so you would feel lonely anyway. Even if you like them, you're only going to be able to see the surface. And this person didn't let you get that close for that particular reason. It's exhausting to keep up the facade. And so, again, it was all about giving to yourself. But if you didn't have caregivers that, because there was so much craziness and chaos, well, you would have to actually teach yourself how to nurture yourself and choose yourself first. And if you're a highly sensitive person and you got your love from giving and doing, well, you would fall back into a karmic pattern of being the rescuer. But again, I felt like it was about giving yourself, not this person. Then because you were neglected, and that's what they said, but you didn't emotionally get what you needed. And this entire connection like was that this person neglected you, made you feel not important. It was organized chaos. It's like, yeah, I can live that way because I've lived that way, but spirit says, but you don't want to live that way. You want to live like where you're again going to manifest unconditional love, that you're going to feel abundant in your life, not a lack. This person would keep you in a place of lack because that's what they feel about themselves. And that's why for you, yes, you grew up in that environment, but the best thing to do is put it in God's hands. Put it in God's hands. And we can do that by becoming ourselves, right? Because spirit and God is something that's inside of us. It's that energy, that unconditional love. And we can become that by doing what we love, right? Becoming the expression of unconditional love. Then we can connect to other people on such a profound and deep level. And it's, you have to find, you have to nurture yourself, okay? Where you're going to invest in yourself to find what you're really passionate about. And you might say, well, I don't have time. You have to make time, because then the universe makes a way where there is no way just for you. Then you're able to see yourself different. Then you're able to attract exactly what it is that you need to attract in your life, and not just gravitate towards what's familiar, because here, what's familiar is toxic. All right, I'm going to leave that there, Scorpio. I hope you resonated. And if you did, let me know. Thank you.